There is a farmhouse in Lancaster County with a roof that has not had a professional treatment since 1987. 37 years. No moss, no lichen, no black algae streaks running down the shingles. The wood is intact. The roof is clean. I asked the farmer what he does to it. He said once a year, after the last frost, he climbs up with a box of baking soda and a garden sprayer. 20 minutes. Done. The box costs $3. The sprayer has been in the barn for 20 years. The roof has been clean since his father built it. I want to give you the number that puts this in context. The professional roof cleaning industry in the United States generates approximately $2.8 billion per year in residential revenue. The average professional roof moss treatment costs $300 to $500 and requires reapplication every 2 to 3 years. These compounds kill what is currently growing without changing the conditions that allow moss to grow in the first place. Over 20 years, the average household with a moss-prone roof spends $2,000 to $3,330 on professional treatments. The Lancaster County farmer has spent approximately $111 over the same period. In baking soda, from the grocery store. Here is why moss grows on roofs. Understanding the cause is the only way to understand why the $3 solution works. Moss is a bryophyte, a non-vascular plant that does not have roots. It attaches to surfaces through structures called rhizoids. It absorbs water and nutrients through its leaf-like structures. Moss requires 3 things to establish: moisture, shade, and pH. It needs a surface pH above approximately 6.0, neutral to slightly alkaline. Most roofing materials are in this range. Asphalt shingles contain limestone granules. Wood shingles are naturally pH neutral to slightly alkaline as they weather. Both provide a hospitable pH environment for moss. Moisture and light conditions depend on the roof's exposure. Professional zinc sulfate treatment kills moss through ionic toxicity. Sodium hypochlorite wash removes the dead organic material. The roof is clean, but the pH of the shingle surface has not changed. The moisture and light conditions remain intact. Within 2 to 3 years, new airborne moss spores find the same hospitable surface and establish again. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. When applied to a moist surface, it dissolves and releases sodium and bicarbonate ions. The bicarbonate buffer system raises the local pH of whatever surface it contacts. On a roof shingle at ambient pH 6.5 to 7.0, baking soda raises the surface pH to approximately 8.0 to 8.5. This occurs as the sodium bicarbonate dissolves and distributes across the surface with rainfall. Moss cannot establish on surfaces at pH above 7.5. The processes that allow moss to absorb nutrients are optimized for near-neutral conditions. At pH 8.0 to 8.5, those processes are disrupted. The moss currently present begins to desiccate as its water absorption mechanism fails. New moss spores that land on the treated surface cannot establish because the surface chemistry is outside their viable range. The critical difference from zinc sulfate is that baking soda changes the surface condition, rather than just killing the current occupant. The treated shingle remains inhospitable to moss for 6 to 12 months, as the sodium bicarbonate gradually weathers. Annual reapplication maintains the surface pH in the range that prevents moss establishment continuously. The Lancaster County farmer applies in spring after the last frost, because spring is the peak moss spore dispersal season. Treating before the peak dispersal season prevents establishment during the highest pressure period. The treatment's effectiveness through fall and winter, seasons with high moisture and low light, is maintained by the spring application. Zinc strips are the standard passive moss prevention product, and they work on the same basic principle as baking soda. However, they have significant limitations. Zinc strips release ions into the water flowing over them during rainfall. The zinc ion concentration is sufficient to prevent moss on approximately 10 feet of roof surface below the strip. Below 10 feet, the zinc concentration in the runoff has diluted to levels that are not effective. A standard roof requires zinc strips every 10 feet of height. At $40 per strip, complete coverage costs $160 to $240. Baking soda applied to the full roof surface provides complete coverage at just $3 per application. Baking soda is also less toxic to soil and plants than zinc ions, which accumulate and affect plant biology. It is a scientific, eco-friendly, and cost-effective solution for every homeowner. The application method varies by roof type and existing moss coverage. I will give you the specific protocol for each. Asphalt shingle roofs with no existing moss. Dissolve 1 cup of baking soda in 1 gallon of warm water in a garden sprayer. Apply to the full roof surface, working from the ridge downward. Allow to dry without rinsing. The sodium bicarbonate distributes across the shingle surface as it dries and remains active until rainfall gradually weathers it. Apply once in spring. Asphalt shingle roofs with existing light moss coverage. Apply dry baking soda directly from the box to the mossy areas. Approximately 1 tablespoon per square foot of affected surface. Allow 1 to 2 weeks of normal rainfall to work it into the moss structure. The moss will begin to brown and dry within 7 to 14 days as the pH disruption affects its cellular processes. Once brown and dry, a soft brush application removes the dead material without shingle damage. Follow with the standard dissolved baking soda spray. Do not use a pressure washer. This removes the protective granule layer from asphalt shingles, reducing shingle life by 5 to 8 years. Wood shingle and shake roofs. The application is identical to the asphalt protocol, but with one additional step. Apply a thin mist of boiled linseed oil dissolved in mineral spirits at a ratio of 1 part oil to 4 parts spirits. The linseed oil treatment penetrates the wood fiber and reduces the moisture absorption that makes wood shingles hospitable to moss. The combination of elevated pH from baking soda and reduced moisture creates a surface resistant to moss, lichen, and fungal growth. Metal roofs. Metal roofs are less hospitable to moss because their smooth, non-porous surface does not retain moisture or organic debris well. Where moss does establish, typically in low-slope areas, the baking soda application is effective but should be followed with a clean water rinse. Purchase a small zinc mesh pad, sold as a pot scrubber, and place one in each downspout opening. As rainfall passes through the zinc mesh, it picks up zinc ions that extend the moss-inhibiting chemistry to the lower portions of the roof. 4 zinc mesh pads plus the annual baking soda application covers the full roof and gutter system for $11 per year. I want to tell you about the roofing industry's position on simple preventive treatments, because it follows a pattern that makes the $3 solution less surprising. The Asphalt Roofing Manufacturers Association publishes maintenance guidance for residential asphalt roofs. Their guidance recommends professional cleaning and treatment for moss and algae control. It does not mention baking soda, zinc strips, or any simple preventive chemistry that a homeowner can apply independently. Their guidance recommends professional application of zinc sulfate and sodium hypochlorite, manufactured by industry members whose advertising supports these trade publications. The Roofing Contractors Association similarly recommends professional treatment and specifically cautions against DIY moss removal on the grounds of safety and shingle damage risk. The safety concern is genuine. Roof work carries fall risk that should be taken seriously. The shingle damage risk they describe is specifically associated with pressure washing, which I have also cautioned against. Simple baking soda application from a garden sprayer at ridge height does not carry the shingle damage risk that pressure washing does. The 1998 Consumer Reports evaluation of DIY moss prevention methods tested zinc strips, zinc sulfate spray, chlorine bleach, and baking soda applications. The baking soda application produced comparable moss prevention effectiveness to the zinc sulfate spray at 1/50th the cost. The evaluation noted that the baking soda's effectiveness required annual reapplication, but that the annual cost was negligible compared to professional treatment costs. Consumer Reports published this finding in their October 1998 issue. The roofing industry trade publications did not reproduce or reference it. The economic picture: $3 per year in baking soda for annual roof treatment, $60 over 20 years. Optional zinc mesh gutter pads at $8 replacement every 2 years. $80 over 20 years. Total 20-year moss prevention cost, $140. Professional roof moss treatment at $400 every 2 to 3 years over 20 years, $2,600 to $4,000. Difference, over $2,500 from a grocery store product applied once per year in 20 minutes. The Lancaster County farmhouse roof has been clean for 37 years. The farmer has spent approximately $111 in that time. His neighbor across the road has had the roof professionally treated 4 times. The neighbor's roof looks similar, but he has spent $1,600 more. The farmer is not smarter than his neighbor. He has the family book. The entry about baking soda and roof moss has been in it since before either man was born. The knowledge did not require an evaluation to validate it. The Amish figured it out by paying attention to what worked and writing it down. Drop your state and roof type in the comments. Tell me if you have existing moss or if you are trying to prevent it. Tell me the last time you had professional treatment and what it cost. I want to map what the industry is collecting from this audience annually. The box costs $3. The roof has been clean since 1887. The professional treatment industry has been charging $400 since 1987. The baking soda was always cheaper. The roof was always cleaner. The family book always had the entry. It still does.